Alright, pukul 2 dah ke? Ada lagi 1 minit. Alright, Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. So hari ini kita akan discuss topik 9, reproduction and development. So I hope you already do the app puzzle. Okay, the 3 videos from the app puzzle, the sexual reproduction in flowering plants and also apa lagi satu? Spermatogenesis. Okay, so topic 9, reproduction and development, we have 4 subtopics. 9.1, sexual reproduction in flowering plants. 9.2, human reproductive system. 9.3, fertilization and fetal development. 9.4, roles of hormone during pregnancy and parturition. Parturition adalah during labor. Okay, during labor process. Awak ada lecture kan pada hari Isnin? Dah discuss kot topik 9 ni? Discuss dah ke?
Belum.
Eh?
Buat quizzes.
Oh, ya ke? Okay, alright. Tak apa. Okay. So for today, we're going to discuss 9.1 and 9.2. For human, we have male and female, but we're going to discuss only mungkin female tapi sikit je. Kita tak sampai ke dalam cycle. Okay, mungkin setakat reproductive organ of the female. Okay, so sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So these are the objective. State and define the terms involved in gamete formation in flowering plants. Male gamete, microsporangium, or pollen sac, microsporocyte, microspore mother cell, microspore, tetrad pollen grain, male gametophyte, generative cell, and tube cell. For female gamete, these are the terms: megasporangium, megaspore mother cell, megaspore, female gametophyte, embryo sac, antipodal cell, polar nuclei, egg cell, and synergid cell. And objective for B, explain the development of pollen grain and formation of male gamete. Explain the development of ovule, embryo sac, and formation of female gamete. Explain double fertilization in the formation of seed. Alright, so this is the introduction. Sexual reproduction is the creation of offspring by the fusion of gametes to form a zygote. Okay, so what are the gametes? Ovum is the female gamete and the sperm is the male gamete. Okay, sperm is the male gamete, ovum is the female gamete. So when these two fertilize together, okay, it will get diploid zygote. And this diploid zygote will divide by mitosis to form new individual. Okay, this is the concept. Okay, sexual reproduction in flowering plant, it involves alternation of generation. Okay, alternation of 2 generation. That is sexual reproduction in plant. Okay, alternate antara 2 generasi. Alternate maksudnya bergili-gili. Apakah 2 generasi tersebut? Sporophyte generation and gametophyte generation. Sporophyte generation are the diploid plants that produce spore. Gametophyte generation are haploid plants that produce gametes. Okay, gametophyte generation produce gamete, sporophyte generation produce spore. Okay, these 2 generation will alternate between each other. Okay, they will alternate. Habis sporophyte generation, masuk gametophyte generation. Habis gametophyte generation, masuk balik ke dalam sporophyte generation. Okay, for angiosperm, the gametophyte develop within the flower. Okay, this is the sporophyte and gametophyte generation. Yang atas ni adalah sporophyte generation. It is the diploid plant. Okay, diploid plant, every plant in angiosperm, they have this 2 generation. Okay, that are alternate. Sporophyte generation produce spore. Okay, for example, it will produce megaspore mother cell, microspore mother cell. Okay, dah habis masuk ke dalam gametophyte generation, it will produce female gametophyte and also male gametophyte. Dah habis gametophyte generation, masuk balik. Dah habis maksudnya apabila female gametophyte and male gametophyte fertilize. Once it fertilized, it will produce diploid zygote. Dapat je diploid zygote, it will enter sporophyte generation. Okay, you will learn this again in semester 2, topic 1, kingdom plantae. Okay, topic 1, kingdom plantae. Alright, this is the reproductive structure of flower. Okay, I won't go in details. I just discuss the important part. The stamen is the male reproductive part. Okay, stamen adalah male. Male lelaki lah, male reproductive part. Stamen. Stamen adalah male reproductive part. So it can be divided into anther and filament. Anther, it will produce pollen grain. Filament is the one that hold the anther. Okay, couple is the female reproductive part. Okay, couple is the female reproductive part. Okay, it consists of stigma, style, and ovary. And inside the ovary, there ada ovule. Okay, ovary, once inside the ovary, it has ovule. Okay, stigma is whereby the pollen grain, okay, pollen grain produced by anther, it will land on the stigma. Once it land on the stigma, okay, it will produce pollen tube, and then the sperms will enter the ovary. Okay, itulah reproductive structure of a flower. Then we move on to the next one, which is the development of pollen grain and the formation of male gamete. Okay, development of pollen grain and the formation of formation of male gamete, it occur within the anther. Okay, berlaku dalam anther. Ini adalah cross section. Okay, this is the cross section of anther. Okay, dalam setiap anther, it has 4 pollen sac. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. And inside each pollen sac, it contains numerous microsporocytes. Okay, it contains numerous microsporocytes, or you can call that as microspore mother cell. Okay, so for example, this is the anther. If you do the cross section, you can see there are 4 pollen sacs, and each pollen sac consists of microsporocytes, and microsporocytes are diploid. Okay, so how pollen grain is formed, is developed. So first, each anther has 4 pollen sacs. Okay, and each pollen sac consists of microsporocyte. Microsporocyte or microspore mother cell is meiosis. Okay, it is meiosis, is diploid. So microsporocyte will undergo meiosis. Okay, daripada diploid, undergo meiosis, it will produce 4 haploid microspore. Okay, 4 haploid microspore. Each microspore will divide by mitosis to form pollen grain. But this pollen grain is immature. Okay, immature pollen grain, immature male gametophyte. Bila masa dia mature, dia akan mature masa dia dah land on the stigma. Barulah dia jadi mature male gametophyte. Okay, but in the pollen grain, it consists of generative nucleus or generative cell and also tube nucleus. Generative cell will divide by mitosis to produce 2 sperms. Okay, generative nucleus, nanti bila pollen grain dah landed on the stigma, generative nucleus will undergo mitosis to produce 2 sperms. Tube nucleus, it will produce pollen tube. Okay, it will produce pollen tube. Okay, so I will explain again based on the sentence. Okay, based on the process. Okay, in essay form. So each pollen sac has diploid cells called microsporocytes or microspore mother cell. Each microspore undergo meiosis, forming 4 haploid microspore. Okay, each microspore divide by mitosis to form a pollen grain that consists 1 generative cell and 1 tube cell. Pollen grain become male gametophyte when the generative cell divide to form 2 sperm. Masa bila dia divide, masa dia dah land on the stigma. Okay, masa dia dah land on the stigma. Right, awak dah tengok video tu, so you get the idea. Next is development of the ovule, embryo sac and formation of female gamete. Development of ovule, saya nak cerita yang ini dulu. Yang ni. Sorry. Ovule. Okay, development of the ovule. After I discuss about ovule, then I will go through development of embryo sac. Okay, so this is development of ovule. So development of ovule, what happen is nucellus is formed from the placenta. Okay, kita ada term nucellus. Okay, nucellus is formed from the placenta of the ovary. Okay, nucellus is formed from the placenta of the ovary. Okay, then what happened? The nucellus will divide. So once it divide, it will form 2 layers. Okay, it develop into 2 layers. And ada dekat layer yang luar, dia ada tiny hole called micropyle. Okay, micropyle. The ovule is attached to the placenta by short structure called funicellus. Okay, ovule is attached to placenta by a short structure called funicellus. Okay, mungkin tak faham tapi tak apa, kita tengok diagram. Okay, nucellus. Nucellus is formed from the placenta. Okay, nucellus will divide and then it will form 2 layers of intergumens. Okay, it will form 2 layers of intergumens. Okay, for 2 layers of intergumens, ada layer yang luar, ada tiny hole called micropyle. Okay, tiny hole called micropyle. Kenapa ada tiny hole ni? Why? Kenapa ada lubang kecil situ?
It is for the tube nucleus.
Yes, very good. For it's not tube nucleus tapi for pollen tube. Okay, but the pollen tube comes from tube nucleus. Okay, technically betul. Pollen tube comes from tube nucleus. Okay, tapi lebih tepat pollen tube. Okay, sebab nak bagi pollen tube masuk. Kenapa pollen tube nak masuk? Why? Kenapa pollen tube nak masuk ke dalam micropyle ni?
So that the male gametes will be released into.
Yeah, the male gamete, or lebih tepat the sperms. Okay, so that it will discharge the sperm, the 2 sperms. Okay, all right. And then after that, yeah, funicellus. Okay, the nucellus is attached to the placenta by a short structure called funicellus. And itu adalah ovule. And right now, I want to discuss about embryo sac. Okay, ada 8 nukleus ni. 8 nucleus but 7 cell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cells. 7 cells, 8 nuclei. Okay, so development of embryo sac and formation of female gamete. Okay, development of embryo sac and formation of female gamete. So in embryo sac, we call has the term megasporocyte sebab dia besar. Okay, so inside the ovule, okay, it has megasporocyte which is also diploid. Megasporocyte will undergo meiosis to form megaspore, to form 4 haploid megaspore. The 4 haploid megaspore, 1 will survive. Hanya 1 sahaja yang boleh survive. Lagi 3 akan degenerated. Okay, the other 3 will be degenerated. Okay, the surviving megaspore, it will undergo mitosis 3 times. Okay, and it will produce 8 nuclei. Okay, 8 nuclei. Right? So itulah sama je, konsep sama. Meiosis dulu and then mitosis. Tapi yang specialnya untuk embryo sac, the female gamete, mitosis 3 times. Okay, mitosis 3 kali, lepas tu daripada 4 haploid megaspore, 1 saja survive. The other 3 will be degenerated. Okay, so development of the embryo sac and formation of female gamete, okay, it occurs in megasporangium in the ovule. only one cell enlarged to form the megasporocyte or megaspore mother cell. The diploid megasporocyte undergoes meiosis to form 4 haploid megaspore. Okay, megasporocyte tadi yang diploid tadi kan dia akan undergo meiosis to form 4 haploid megaspore. One megaspore survive, the other 3 degenerate. Okay, the surviving megaspore divide by mitosis 3 times without cytokinesis. Okay, divide by mitosis 3 times tanpa cytokinesis. Sebab ada tanpa cytokinesis lah, dia akan hasilkan satu sel yang besar, but it has 8 haploid nuclei. Okay, the cell develop into female gametophyte called embryo sac. Then we have our cytokinesis. The embryo cassette consists of 8 nuclei within 7 cells. So you have to know the name of 8 nuclei. Okay, the 3 cells near the micropyle are 2 synergid cell, 1 egg cell. The opposite end of micropyle, we have 3 antipodal cell. And at the center, with 1 shared cytoplasm, we have 2 polar nuclei. Okay, so kalau tengok dekat sini, ada 3 antipodal, 2 synergids. Synergids will located between the egg. I rephrase. The synergid cells, okay, the 2 synergid cell, we hold the egg. Okay, dia akan diapit lah. The egg cell ni akan diapit oleh synergid cell. Dia macam protect the egg lah. Okay, it will protect the egg. And these 2 synergid cell and 1 egg cell located near the micropyle and 2 polar nuclei at the center. Okay, katakanlah soalan tak bagi and dia suruh you label. How can you identify which one is where is the location of synergid cell and egg cell? Kalau soalan tak label semua ni, macam mana nak tahu? Okay, tak label, tak ada ni semua ni. Macam mana you nak tahu yang itu adalah synergid cell, itu adalah antipodal cell? Macam mana nak bezakan?
Yang egg cell tu dia akan colour lain.
Tengok kat micropyle.
Tak, bukan kalau bukan soalan pernah ke awak jumpa soalan exam colour ada macam-macam colour?
Kat yang hitam putih tu. Kan selalu kan dia akan warnakan egg cell tu hitam kan. Lepas tu yang lain tu dia akan putihkan dalam tengah-tengah tu.
Okey, katakanlah dia tak hitam, dia tak putih kan, macam mana awak nak cakap?
Tengok dekat micropyle.
Ya, itu jawapan yang saya cari. Kita tengok duduk dekat micropyle, tak ada kaitan dengan colour. Siapa yang duduk dekat micropyle itu adalah 2 synergid cell, 1 egg cell. Okay, kenapa kena duduk dekat micropyle? Why? Kenapa kena duduk dekat micropyle?
So that when in the pollen tube, then later the sperms will be, it will be easier for it to reach the eggs.
Yes, because it is easier for the sperm cell to fertilize the egg. Okay, itulah reason dia. Kalau kat atas ni jenuh lah nak naik atas tu. Belum tentu sampai. Okay, alright. Ingat dia tak ada tail. Sperm ni tak ada tail. Ada ke? Sekejap. Tak ada. Sperm manusia dia. Okay. Boleh ke setakat ni okey ke? Ada soalan? Soalan ke? Okay, tak ada. Alright. Double fertilization in the formation of seed. Okay, after pollination, pollen grain absorb water and germinates. Tube cell, as I said, tube cell will produce pollen tube. It will grow down the style towards the ovary. Grow down the style towards ovary maksudnya dia akan turun ke style masuk ke dalam ovary. Turun melalui style masuk ke dalam ovary. Okay, itu maksudnya. Grow down toward the style, move toward the ovary. Okay. After that, what happened? Masa dia tengah turun, once as the pollen tube elongates, generative cell divide by mitosis, forming 2 sperms, 2 male gametes. Now, once ada je sperm, the pollen grain become mature gametophyte. Okay, now the pollen tube carries 2 sperms. After reaching the ovary, pollen tube penetrates the micropyle and discharge the 2 sperm. Once it reaches the ovary, what happened? The pollen tube will enter the micropyle and discharge the sperm. Sperm tu nak pergi mana? Lepas dia discharge the sperm, maksudnya dia bagi sperm dekat ovary, tube cell ni will be degenerate. Habis dah function. Degenerate. Hancur macam tu. Okay, degenerate. Bila dah degenerate, akan berlakulah double fertilization. Apa maksud double fertilization? Okay. What happen is, one sperm fertilize the egg to form diploid zygote. Another sperm fuse with 2 polar nuclei to form triploid endosperm. That is double fertilization. Soalan favorite 2 markah. Okay, one sperm fertilize the egg to form diploid zygote and the other sperm fuse with 2 polar nuclei to form triploid endosperm. Okay, ada soalan ke setakat ni? Okay, tak ada. Okay, triploid endosperm. Apakah endosperm? Endosperm adalah food storing tissue. Okay, dia akan tisu yang tak ada orang dah. Tisu yang akan store food, starch, nutrient untuk bagi kepada developing embryo, untuk supplykan nutrient food kepada developing embryo. Kat mana dia dapat source makanan? Daripada endosperm. Okay. Alright, that is double fertilization. So you can see that once pollen grain land on the stigma, it will produce pollen tube, and then the pollen tube will grow down toward the style, grow down in the style towards the ovary, and then it will enter micropyle, and then it will discharge the 2 sperm, and double fertilization occurs. Okay, what is double fertilization? One sperm fused with egg to produce diploid zygote, and the other sperm fused with 2 polar nuclei to produce triploid endosperm. Okay, boleh ke setakat ni? Boleh ke? Boleh ke?
Boleh.
Boleh ya?
Boleh.
Boleh. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Kalau tak boleh pun bolehlah. Hai. Okay. So ni adalah summary lah nak ceritanya. Tube nucleus akan hasilkan apa tube nucleus?
Pollen tube.
Pollen tube.
Pollen tube. Very good. Okay, siapa beritahu tadi apa Anas kan? Generative nucleus akan divide by mitosis to produce sperm. 2 sperms. Okay, and then berlakulah double fertilization. The embryo sac will produce 8 nuclei, 3 antipodal cells, 2 synergids, 1 egg cell, 2 polar nuclei. Itulah ceritanya. Okay, formation and development of seeds. Okay. Okay, dengar bunyi bising ke? Tak kan? Dengar suara saya je kan?
Tak ada.
Tak ada dengar.
Ada. Okay, sebab pensyarah belakang ni tengah marah student dia. Okay, tak dengar Okay. Alright. Okay, formation and development of seeds. Okay, after fertilization, what happened? Ovule yang ni tadi, mana? Ovule ni akan jadi seed. Ovary akan jadi fruit. So selama ni buah kita makan tu, kita makan ovary of the plant. Okay, ovary of the plant. Kata tadi semalam saya makan buah jambu. So kita makan ovary lah. You. Scary bunyi dia. Okay, tak? Macam tu. Okay. So ovule become seed, ovary become fruit. Soalan pernah keluar 2 markah PSPM. Okay. Isi tempat kosong tak apa. PSPM batch awak ni yang paling untung. Okay, MCQ je. Tak ada masalah. Jawapan ada, pilih je. Okay, tak dapat A lagi tak tahulah. Alright, so in ovule, the zygote, the two end, it will become embryo. It will grow into embryo. Later, embryo will differentiate to become PCR. It will become plumule, cotyledons, and radicle. Okay, the embryo will differentiate to become PCR, plumule, cotyledons, and radicle. Okay, and the endosperm, we have endosperm right here. Endosperm will supply it has starch in it, and then it will supply the nutrient for the developing embryo. Okay, so that is the development of seeds, how seeds develop. Sorry. Okay, and we have cotyledons right here. Cotyledons will hold by epicotyl and hypocotyl. Okay, epicotyl and hypocotyl. That is cotyledons. Tak berapa penting sangat lah. Kalau honestly, saya rasa part ini tak berapa penting. Banyak lagi dalam topik 9 dia nak tanya. Okay, banyak lagi lah. Ini baru plant. Human tak masuk lagi. Human saja dah ada 3 subtopik. Okay, so banyak lagi benda nak tanya. Sebab tu lah masa PSPM hari tu, dia keluar takat ini je. 2 markah untuk plant. Bukan untuk plant saja, maksudnya katakanlah ada 14 markah untuk topik 9. Dalam 5 markah saja untuk plant. Yang lain semua human. Okay? Alright. Ada soalan ke? Ini?
Tak ada.
Tak ada saja kau ni. Alah. Rasa makan gaji buta. Betul tak ada?
Madam?
Yeah.
About the endosperm, right? Endosperm, its function is temporary, right? Like it only works during germination.
Yeah,
Once
during the
the-
germination. Yeah.
So once the plant like matures and makes its own food, the endosperm no function, right?
Tak ada. Yes, betul.
Okay.
Betul. Konsep yang betul. Tak ada function. Alright. Nak tanya. Sebab saya tengok Dewan tadi. Pagi tadi budak-budak perempuan beratur pergi Dewan tu buat apa?
Buat test.
RTK.
Oh. Ya ke? So okay ke?
Okey.
Okay ke? Okay tak ada positif. Saya dah lah pergi cafe tadi. Tak ada?
Tak ada, sihat.
Tak ada. Alhamdulillah
Esok
sihat.
macam
Apa dia?
lelaki esok.
Laki esok. Oh ya ke? Memang aku awal pagi lah ya. Korang punya test tu. Awal-awal pagi.
Yang hari tu pun dia buat pagi.
Yelah. Dia kena buat before makan minum semua kan. Baru balik. Okay. Ada apa-apa nak tanya tak selain topik yang kita ajar ni, apa-apa pun nak tanya. Ada tak? Sebelum saya masuk kepada human. Tak ada. Okay, amazing. Okay, tahu kan minggu depan kita jumpa secara face to face. Waktu amali sahaja. So minggu depan hari Rabu kita akan berjumpa secara face to face. Untuk yang dah ada di college. Okay, yang dia dah college ni kita akan Allah tak ada pula jadual. MB berapa minggu depan kelas? Amali kita patutnya sekarang ni dekat lab berapa? Tengok kejap ada tak siapa-siapa?
MB6.
MB6. Lupa dah MB6 mana satu. MB6 belakang. Okay, MB6. Nanti kita minggu depan, siapa yang ada dekat college, kita jumpa dekat MB6 pada pukul 2 petang. Kita akan buat kelas secara face to face. Walaupun amali, kita dah tak ada amali, kita akan discuss tutorial. So, kita akan discuss chapter 9. Okay, insyaAllah minggu depan habis dah chapter 10. Habis dah chapter 10. Habis chapter 9 Habis chapter 9 masuk chapter 10. Chapter 10 2 jam habis dah. Okay, so minggu depan insyaAllah minggu depan habis dah syllabus. Bolehlah kita study sama-sama. Okay, so lagi 2 minggu mungkinlah kita akan buat. Yelah kita buat soalan je lah. MCQ je. Right, boleh je nak buat structure. Tapi essay tak payah buat. Kita fokus on MCQ and structure. tengok pattern soalan tanya macam mana. Sebab kalau dah ke MCQ soalan dia, mungkin susah lah. Tak adalah dia tanya macam, okay, which one is not the hormones in spermatogenesis? Tak adalah dia tanya senang sangat macam tu. Okay, alright. Tapi kita tak tahulah soalan macam mana. Okay, itu untuk pelajar yang berada di college. Untuk yang kat rumah, bila awak kena balik?
Tak tahu lagi.
Ya betul.
Ya.
Tak tahu lagi. Habis tu Imam Pesyarah dah dapat jadual bertugas ni. Minggu depan kan? Imam balik.
Tak tahu tarikh lagi madam.
Tak tahu tarikh lagi lah. Tapi siapa yang ada dekat rumah tu memang kena balik lah. Dah kena balik college dah. Okay, kena balik college and tapi memang kita takkan jumpa lah. Siapa yang kat rumah tu memang balik college memang takkan jumpa sebab korang kena kuarantin. Okay, so memang tak berjumpa. Hanya yang dah ada di college sahaja yang kita akan berjumpa secara face to face. Alright, mungkin HCP akan maklumkan lah nanti. Sebab ya, tak tahulah bila. Alright, okay, so human reproductive system, ABCD adalah objektif untuk lelaki sahaja. Overview, male reproductive organ, testis, and the structure of spermatozoa, sperm. Explain the structure of sperm. Explain the role of hormone in spermatogenesis. G and RH, luteinizing hormone. LH, FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, and testosterone. D, explain the stages of spermatogenesis and its hormonal control. Okay, ABCD, lelaki. Perempuan punya adalah yang mana? Ya, EFGHI. Okay, ada 5. Okay, sebab kita ada cycle. Perempuan kita ada cycle kan. So, perempuan punya objektif, overview, female reproductive organ, ovary, and the structure of secondary oocyte. F, explain the structure of secondary oocyte. G, explain the role of hormone in female reproductive cycle. You can see that we have 5 hormones: estrogen, progesterone, GnRH, LH, FSH. Explain the stages of oogenesis. Explain female reproductive cycle and its hormonal control. Ovarian cycle, cycle yang berlaku dalam ovary. Uterine or menstrual cycle, yang berlaku dekat kita punya uterus. Okay, the one that lead to your period every month. Okay, this one lah. Kita akan belajar lah macam mana, kenapa awak dapat PMS tu. Okay, kenapa awak ada PMS, kenapa mood swing, okay, kenapa mood swing, semua disebabkan hormon. Okay, hormon turun naik. Alright, tapi kita tak pergi discuss ni hari ni lah, mungkin esok. Alright, kita pergi dulu kepada lelaki. Okay, lelaki punya part. Okay, A, B, C, D. Okay, first of all, this is sexual life cycle. Adult male will produce sperm as the gamete cell, which is haploid. The adult female will produce egg cell as their gametes. Okay, they're also haploid. These two gamete cells will undergo fertilization to produce diploid zygote. And the diploid zygote will grow into individuals. Mula-mula jadi baby. But then the baby will grow into adult male or adult female. And the cycle will be repeated. Okay, that is sexual life cycle. Okay, yang di kali kuning ni adalah haploid punya cycle. Yang biru ni adalah diploid punya cycle. Okay, so the male reproductive system. Male reproductive system, they has testis, tubules, glands. Testis ada dalam dia ada seminiferous tubules. In tubules, they have epididymis, whatever you pronounce it, make sure you spell correctly. Vas deferens, glands, seminivesicles, prostate glands, and bulbourethral glands. Okay, inilah. Okay, so my question is, where does spermatogenesis takes place? Kat mana spermatogenesis berlaku? Production of sperm berlaku. Macam jauh.
Seminiferous
Seminiferous
tubules.
tubules.
Seminiferous tubules, pandai. Okay, sekejap saya tak mana phone saya ni. Okay, seminiferous tubules. sikit nampak macam cahaya sikit. Nampak. Okay, seminiferous tubule. Alright. Okay, okay, spermatogenesis berlaku dekat seminiferous tubule. Lepas tu disimpan kat mana sperm ni? Tak nak dekat sangat. Sperm ni simpan kat mana?
In the epididymis.
Epididymis. Okay, sperm will be stored in epididymis. Disimpan kat situ. Okay, disimpan kat situ. Alright. Okay, so this is testis. Ini adalah testis, dalam dia ada seminiferous tubule. Seminiferous tubule rupa dia kalau kita do the cross section, ini adalah seminiferous tubule. Sorry. Okay, this is the cross section of seminiferous tubule. Okay, yang mana nampak macam sel-sel satu-satu ni, ini adalah spermatogonia. Okay, spermatogonia, spermatocyte, spermatid. Spermatid tak ada ekor lagi. Dah jadi sperm, baru dia ada ekor. Okay, macam line-line ni semua ekor dia lah. Okay, makin ke tengah, makin besar lah. Bukan makin besar pada saiz, makin matang lah dia. Okay, daripada besar, daripada ni sampailah ke tengah. Right, that is seminiferous tubule. Okay, first I will explain the structure of sperm. Okay, this is the structure of sperm. It has tail untuk bergerak. Okay, for motility or locomotion. Dia nak bergerak gimana? Nak bergerak gimana? Saja.
Fallopian tube.
Into the fallopian tube.
Yes,
Into the ovule.
okay, into female reproductive tract, and then it will go to the fallopian tube or oviduct. Okay, so macam mana dia boleh bergerak, dapat energi daripada siapa? From mitochondria. Okay, from mitochondria located at the middle piece. Okay, and then it has neck. Okay, located between middle piece and the head. And the head, the most important part is the head. Bukan most lah, I won't say most. Sebab mungkin dia ada genetic information kot. Tapi tak betul juga. Kalau tak ada tail, dia tak boleh gerak juga. Okay, head. Okay, head ni ada apa? Ada nucleus dalam dia. Okay, dalam tu ada nucleus, ada genetic information, ada X chromosome, ada Y chromosome. Okay, ada all the genetic information, contoh color awak, color rambut awak warna apa, color mata awak warna apa, semua genetic information dalam ni. Okay, and this nucleus is covered by the acrosome. Okay, acrosome. This acrosome contain enzyme that help penetrate the egg. Okay, it contain enzyme that help penetrate the egg. Enzyme help the sperm penetrate the egg. Maksudnya dia akan tolong nanti dalam proses fertilization. Dalam fertilization ada 4 stages. Okay, 4 stages. Okay, acrosome akan tolong dalam one of the stage, which is stage 2. What is stage 2? Siapa-siapa boleh kita tahu tak what is stage 2 of fertilization? What is stage 2 of fertilization? Hargai harta kerajaan, sila guna dengan baik. What is the stage 2 of fertilization? Anyone?
Acrosomal reaction.
Kan Lechinol, apa dia Kritina?
Acrosomal reaction.
Acrosomal reaction. Jude, tolong repeat balik. Senyap sangat ni.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, what is the second stage of fertilization?
Acrosomal reaction.
Acrosomal reaction. Mesti you tengah senyum kan sekarang ni. Okay, alright. So that is structure of sperm. Ada soalan tak setakat ni? Sebelum saya masuk sini. Ada soalan ke? Soalan ke? Tak ada eh? Tak ada. Kalau ada, angkat tangan, tanya. Okay. Role of hormone in spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis is the process of production of sperm. Okay. Hormon, ada 4 hormon diperlukan. GnRH, 1 hormon. FSH, 1 hormon. LH, 1 hormon. Testosteron, hormon keempat. So ada 4 hormon. Okay, I will explain to you twice. The first I will explain based on sentence, ayat macam ni lah. Saya harap awak baca lah before kita start kelas tadi, and saya harap juga awak tengoklah app puzzle tu supaya awak dapat the idea. Okay, I will explain dulu bahagian sentence. Then I will explain by referring to this slide. Okay, so first we have hypothalamus. Hypothalamus secrete gonadotrophin releasing hormone. Or you can write hypothalamus secrete GnRH. Kenapa kita guna secrete? Because the next word is hormone. Unless it is gland or muscle, we use stimulate. Okay, stimulate. Okay, so hypothalamus will secrete GnRH. Okay, GnRH. GnRH will stimulate anterior pituitary gland. Okay, anterior pituitary gland to secrete LH and FSH. Okay, LH dengan FSH. LH will stimulate Leydig cell. Okay, LH will stimulate Leydig cell to secrete testosterone. Okay, nak secrete testosterone. Function of testosterone, it will stimulate spermatogenesis, and it also act on Sertoli cell by increasing responsiveness to FSH. Okay, itu function itu function testosterone. Okay, untuk LH, Leydig cell, secrete testosterone. FSH will stimulate Sertoli cell. Okay, Sertoli cell. Kat mana Sertoli cell? Yang ni adalah Sertoli cell. Okay, FSH will stimulate Sertoli cell. Okay, Sertoli cell. S huruf besar. Yes, tapi tak kisah MCQ. Okay, S huruf besar. Sertoli cell. Okay, FSH will stimulate Sertoli cell located within the seminiferous tubule to nourish the developing sperm. Okay, so apa function Sertoli cell ni? Saya ingat 3. P and S. P, protection. Protect. N, nutrient. S, support. Okay, that's how I remember. P and S. Role of Sertoli cell, P and S. Protection, nutrient, support. Okay? Sekarang ingat keyword je. Ingat keyword. Sebab apa? Sebab awak soalan awak MCQ. So, cari je jawapan dalam tu. Jawapan dah ada. Pilih je. Okay? Alright. Itu macam mana Sertoli cell tolong dalam spermatogenesis. Okay? And they also have 2 negative feedback mechanism. Okay, negative feedback mechanism ni maksudnya untuk kita kontrol balik. Katakanlah hormon tu terlebih. Hormon testosteron ni banyak sangat ni. Macam mana nak kontrol? Ada negative feedback mechanism. Okay, so once testosterone release, testosterone regulates blood level of GnRH, FSH and LH through inhibitory effect. Okay, nak cakapnya testosteron ni dia akan inhibit 2 benda. It will inhibit hypothalamus and also inhibit anterior pituitary gland. Okay, it will inhibit hypothalamus. Kenapa nak inhibit hypothalamus? To reduce the secretion of GnRH. And also inhibit anterior pituitary gland to reduce the secretion of FSH and LH. Okay. In addition, Sertoli cell secrete peptide hormone called inhibin. Okay. Itu. Sertoli cell, itu untuk testosteron. Sertoli cell ni selain dia bagi dia function P and S tadi, protection, nutrient, support tadi, Sertoli cell akan secrete 1 peptide hormone. Okay, 1 peptide hormone called inhibin. Inhibin will inhibit anterior pituitary gland to reduce FSH secretion. So bila dah ada negative feedback, level akan turun kepada normal. Okay, alright. So I will explain again based on this diagram. Hypothalamus will secrete GnRH. GnRH will stimulate anterior pituitary gland. Anterior pituitary gland will secrete FSH and LH. LH will stimulate Leydig cell to secrete testosterone. Testosterone will help in spermatogenesis, okay, and also will increase responsiveness to Sertoli cell to FSH. Okay, FSH will stimulate Sertoli cell, and Sertoli cell will nourish the sperm. Okay, Sertoli cell will support spermatogenesis by PNS, protection nutrient support. Okay, Sertoli cell will also secrete peptide hormone called inhibin. Inhibin will inhibit anterior pituitary gland to reduce the secretion of FSH. On the other hand, testosterone will inhibit anterior pituitary gland to reduce the secretion of LH and also FSH. Testosterone also inhibit hypothalamus to reduce the secretion of GnRH. Now, all the androgen level back to normal. Boleh ke? Boleh ke? Boleh ke?
Madam,
Ya, Jude.
Leydig cells do what? What is the function of Leydig cells?
Secret testosterone.
Oh, okay.
Itu function dia. Okay. Secret testosterone. This one. Secret testosterone. Okay, kalau tak nak guna katakanlah soalan, dia tak tulis pun Leydig cell. Another name of Leydig cell is interstitial cell. Dalam seminiferous tubules juga. Okay, dalam seminiferous tubules juga. Alright, ada lagi soalan? Soalan ke? Okay, tiada. Okay, boleh Boleh? Boleh saya proceed?
Boleh.
Okay. Okay. Okay, saya akan cerita mengenai spermatogenesis. Okay, spermatogenesis is the production of mature sperm. Okay, it is continuous process in adult male. It takes 65 to 75 days in humans. Okay, it occurs in seminiferous tubules of testis. Okay, production of sperm lah. Sekarang cerita spermatogenesis ni, kita nak cerita macam mana sperm ni dihasilkan. Okay, dihasilkan. Sorry. Alright. Again, I will explain twice. First, I will explain macam ni. Okay, guna this slide, these two slides, and then I will explain based on this diagram. Sorry. Okay. Stages of spermatogenesis. In mature testis, primordial germ cell develop into spermatogonia. Spermatogonia plural. Spermatogonium is singular. Okay, these are the same thing. Okay, spermatogonia and spermatogonium ni dua benda yang sama. Okay, dua benda yang sama. Dia singular plural. Okay, so primordial germ cell will develop into spermatogonia, and each spermatogonium divide by mitosis to form two types of spermatogonia. And spermatogonia is diploid. Okay, diploid. Okay, dia akan form dua types kan, two type of spermatogonia. Satu, dia akan remain at the basal membrane, and another type differentiate into primary spermatocyte. Okay, nak cakapnya satu lagi akan remain dekat bawah, satu lagi akan differentiate menjadi primary spermatocyte. Okay. Alright. Primary spermatocyte, sebab dia undergo differentiation je, dia punya diploidy level still sama. Still diploid. Okay. Primary spermatocyte undergo meiosis 1 to form secondary spermatocyte. Okay, it's already haploid. Okay, haploid. Tapi kalau meiosis 1 berapa daughter cell? Berapa daughter cell kalau meiosis 1? Lepas habis meiosis 1 berapa daughter cell?
2.
Ha,
2.
2. Okay, 2 daughter cell. So kalau awak tengok, 2 lah kat sini. Tengok, primary spermatocyte, secondary spermatocyte pun 2. 1, 2. Lepas habis meiosis 1, secondary spermatocyte undergo meiosis 2 to form spermatids. Spermatid dah habis meiosis 2 berapa daughter cell?
4.
4.
4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 daughter cells. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dapatlah spermatids. Okay, yeah. Spermatids. Alright. As the spermatids develop, they are being pushed towards the lumen. Maksudnya masa spermatid tengah nak membesar ni, dia akan ditolak kepada lumen. Tolak ke tengah. Through the lumen of seminiferous tubule. Lumen maksudnya kawasan ada lumen lah, lumen. Okay. Dia tolak ke tengah macam tu. Macam saya cakap tadi lah, tolak ke tengah macam ada ruang kosong tu. Okay, lumen of seminiferous tubule, tolak tengah. Okay. After that, spermatids differentiate, form spermatozoa. Okay, spermatid differentiate to form spermatozoa, which is the sperm cell. Okay, so saya akan explain lagi based on this diagram. We have primordial germ cell. It will divide to produce spermatogonia. We have two types of spermatogonia. One will remain at the basal membrane and another one will differentiate into primary spermatocyte. Okay, the primary spermatocyte, the diploid cell will undergo meiosis 1. Okay, will undergo meiosis 1 to form secondary spermatocyte. Okay, secondary tengok ni, secondary spermatocyte, which is already haploid. Secondary spermatocyte undergo meiosis 2 to form spermatids. Okay, to form spermatid. Dapatlah 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Spermatids will undergo differentiation. Or you can say spermatid differentiate to form spermatozoa. Okay, dia akan form spermatozoa. Okay, spermatid differentiate to form spermatozoa. Okay, spermatid differentiate to form spermatozoa. Yang ni. Okay, masa proses differentiation tu, apa beza awak boleh tengok antara spermatid dengan spermatozoa ni? Apa perbezaan yang boleh nampak?
One got tail, another one no tail.
Okay, tail, lagi presence of tail. What else? Yeah, what else?
Small.
Apa yang small? Apa yang small? Apa yang smallnya?
Sel.
Dia punya head.
Apa dia, Anas?
Sel tu lagi kecil.
Yang ni, kepala dia ke maksudnya?
Taklah, sel tu sendiri jadi kecil.
Satu sendiri. Okay, faham. Cytoplasm content. Okay, cytoplasm content dia dah reduce daripada banyak. Cytoplasm content will be reduced. Kepala dia akan jadi kecil. Okay, yang tu. So, 2 tu je lah yang differentiation yang boleh nampak. Okay, tapi walaupun dia dah jadi sperm, dia tak boleh gerak lagi. Dia tak boleh gerak lagi. Memang ada tail semata-mata. Dia tak boleh gerak lagi. Masa bila dia akan gerak? Masa bila dia akan gerak? Masa bila dia akan gerak? Masa bila? Astaghfirullahalazim. Masih familiar ya?
Madam, I'm not so sure whether correct or not, but maybe once it is in the vast deferens.
Once in the
In the vast deferens.
vas deferens. Okay. One answer. Lagi? Anyone? Yang lain rasanya ada 28. H64 ada 28 orang. Tapi yang selalu yang dah cakap Anas, Kirtina, Jude. Lagi siapa yang dah cakap?
Bila dia jadi semen,
Bukan. Tak. Dekat mana? Okay, tak. Bukan yang tu.
Once in the female reproductive system.
Once in the female reproductive system, once in the female reproductive tract, to be exact, once in the female reproductive tract, they are moving. Okay, they are moving, but they are moving faster. Okay, faster than before. Dia akan bergerak lagi laju. Okay, tapi kat mana, once dah ada tail dekat dalam lelaki ni, kat mana yang dia dah start gerak kat dalam lelaki punya productive system. Bukan vas deferens.
Epididymis.
Yes, epididymis. Okay, tempat yang di mana dia simpan itulah yang dia akan start gerak dia punya tail. Okay, dia punya tail tu akan start gerak macam tu. Okay, tapi dah gerak. Macam kita nak cakap tadi, once dalam female reproductive tract, dia akan gerak dengan lebih laju. Okay, dia akan buanglah benda-benda yang tak sepatutnya. Contoh dia akan buang apa? Kolesterol, dia akan buang peptide, ada lagi benda-benda dia akan buang supaya dia gerak lebih laju. Tapi kalau dia gerak lebih laju pun, tak sampai kepada destinasi, tak guna juga macam itulah. Okay, tak guna maksudnya dia ada halangan je lah. Okay, dia ada halangan. Contoh dia tersangkut dekat silia ke, kan? Dia tersangkut dekat silia. So dia tak berdaya nak gerak macam tu. Alright? Okay, yang penting lelaki specifically kena makan sihat lah, kena makan benda-benda yang sihat, kena aktif. Okay, macam saya cakap, lazy man will produce lazy sperm. Lagi banyak masa awak spend untuk duduk je tak buat apa, sperm awak pun akan jadi malas. Okay, sperm awak pun akan jadi malas. Ada berkaitan benda tu. Alright. Ada soalan ke nak tanya? Soalan ke? Soalan tak? Okay, tak ada soalan Okay, tak apa. Apa kita pergi kepada biomix. Okay, awak nak buat macam mana ni? Sama ada saya assign soalan and then assign soalan, a few soalan and then kita discuss, ataupun saya sambung terus, saya habiskan saya sambung terus bahagian E ni, lepas tu habis kelas, tapi at the same time saya bagi soalan, esok kita discuss. Macam tu. Macam mana? Nak discuss sekarang ke? Macam mana? Nak sambung sini ke ataupun nak buat sini? Biomix.
sambung.
Sana? Ya Allah, tanya soalan pun. Ya Allah, seorang je boleh jawapan.
Sambung.
Okay, sambung mana? Sambung sini ke? Sambung biomix ke? Sambung slide?
Sambung slide.
Slide.
Okay, ramai ke setuju sambung slide? Angkat tangan. Okay, kita sambung slide. Kita stop E sampai E saja. Lepas tu, kita stop sampai E saja. Lepas tu kita terus, lepas tu saya akan assign a few soalan. Awak buat nanti. Maksudnya bukannya awak buat nanti. Maksudnya dalam sejam tu awak buat lah. Dalam pukul 3-10 minit, 3 suku kita habis lah. So dalam 3 suku tu ada lagi 45 minit awak boleh buat soalan biomix yang saya akan assign sekejap lagi. Alright. Okay. So Untuk female, saya akan bagi pada E sahaja. Overview female reproductive organ, ovary and the structure of secondary oocyte. Structure tak kot, saya pergi sampai sini. Structure tak kot. Sampai sini saja. Reproductive organ saja. Structure kita discuss later, tomorrow. Okay. Female reproductive system. Ni tak lawa. Yang ni lawa. Okay, female reproductive system, kita pergi tengok, kita ada dua. For female, they have two ovaries. Okay, two ovaries. The factory of the egg. Okay, the ovaries. Ada dua, satu kanan, satu kiri. Yang mana kita tak tahu. Ya, kita tak tahu pun. Bulan ni egg tu keluar daripada mana? Kanan ke kiri? Okay, kanan ke kiri, tak tahu. Boleh jadi kiri ataupun boleh jadi kanan. Macam tu lah. Okay, so this inside the ovaries, we have follicles and this follicle will release the secondary oocyte. Okay, every month it will release secondary oocyte by a process called ovulation. Ovulation. Okay, and then the remaining follicle will form corpus luteum. Yang colour kuning tu lah, corpus luteum. Okay, masa ovulate tu, macam nak cakap ovulate, kalau siapa-siapalah perasan tau, tak tahulah girls especially, girls lah, lelaki mana ada benda ni. Girls kalau macam awak perasan kalau awak tengah ovulate, maksudnya awak follicle awak tu tengah release secondary oocyte, kalau awak perasan, tanda-tanda simptom yang awak rasa adalah temperature awak akan naik sikit, suhu badan akan naik sikit. Tak adalah naik sampai 2 degree Celsius tak. Mungkin 0.5 macam tu, 0.7 macam tu. Okay, lepas tu akan sakit, cramp. Okay, cramp kanan kiri tak tahulah. Okay, cramp. Dia akan rasa macam tu. Adalah tanda-tanda ovulation macam tu. Okay. Yang macam jari-jari ni diberi nama fimbriae. Fimbriae, dia akan tarik. Okay, dia akan tarik si egg cell tu, the secondary oocyte, masuk ke dalam oviduct. Oviduct or fallopian tube, kita panggil oviduct lah, macam ilmiah sikit. Okay, oviduct. Oviduct is the process where fertilization takes place. Fertilization akan berlaku dekat sini, oviduct. Sebab itulah kalau fertilization outside the uterus, iaitu ectopic pregnancy. Okay, ectopic pregnancy, ECTPOCE. Ectopic pregnancy bahaya. Maksudnya mengandung luar rahim. Dia mungkin melekat kat sini ataupun melekat kat sini. Ikutlah. Tapi bukan melekat dalam. Dia melekat dekat luar. Bahaya. Boleh menyebabkan mati. Sebab itulah siapa-siapa yang ectopic pregnancy, memang dia akan gugurkan kandungan tu. Dia suruh. Yalah, ectopic kan? Boleh ke maut. Sebab dia kat luar, bukan kat dalam. Bila kat luar, dia akan push organ yang lain. Okay. So bila organ lain dia di-push, di-cramp, tak function lah. Susah lah nak function. Okay. Okay, dah lari topik. Apa benda tu nak cakap tadi? Oviduct, yes, oviduct. Alright, oviduct. What else do we have here? Uterus. Okay, uterus is the thick muscular organs whereby the baby, the embryo, okay, will grow inside the uterus. The vagina, the cervix between the vagina and the uterus, the uterine wall, and the endometrium. Okay, yang itulah. Alright, ovaries adalah female gonads, 2 in each individual. Ada yang kalau macam, kalau awak pernah dengar siapa-siapa tak nak beranak dah, dia ikat kan, dia ikat sini. Maksudnya dia ikat kat sini lah. Dia ikat dekat sini. Okay, dia ikat. Dia potong yang ni supaya dia punya supaya sperm tu tak jumpa si egg cell lah. Kan dia potong, dia ikat, memang ikat. Okay, dia ikat macam tu. Alright. Ovaries produce egg cell and female sex hormones, iaitu estrogen, progesterone. Yang ni, estrogen, progesterone, contain many follicles. Each follicle contain 1 egg cell. Dalam masa kita lahir, before birth actually, kita ada 400,000 follicle. Tapi yang survive, yang akan release egg, hanyalah several hundred. Saya pernah baca 500 saja. Daripada 400,000 tu, 500 sahaja yang akan release egg cell. Okay. From puberty until menopause, one follicle mature and release egg cell for each menstrual cycle. So katakanlah awak period, you reach puberty at age 13 sampai umur awak sekarang ni berapa? 20 20 ke?
19.
19. Sekali. Muda lagi. Allah mudanya lagi 19. Ya Allah, ya Tuhanku. 19 zaman saya matrik ni. Seronoknya. Seronok matrik. Tak tahulah zaman COVID ni macam mana. Tapi zaman saya matrik memang enjoy lah. Okay, memang best. Okay, so 13 ke 19 tahun, katakanlah awak period umur 13, puberty umur 13 sampai 19 ni. Okay, awak kira lah berapa folikel dah keluarkan egg. Okay, kira buat apa? Kira lah sendiri, dia tak ada masa pun nak kira untuk korang. Okay, kira lah, ikutlah kan nak kira pun. Okay. Oviduct. Oviduct adalah cilia of the two oviduct convey the egg cell to the uterus. So dekat oviduct ni ada cilia. Okay, dekat oviduct ni ada cilia. Macam kapet. Kapet. Tolaklah si egg cell tu. Tolaklah. Okay, sebab dia kita kena sama-sama usaha. Dalam relationship, lelaki dengan perempuan kena sama-sama usaha. Sama juga macam ni. Sperm dah datang. Besar sangat spermnya. Okay, sperm dah datang. Egg cell duduk kat situ je ke? Tak. Egg cell pun akan usaha untuk cari sperm. Siapa yang tolong? Cilia of the oviduct. Okay? Alright. Lagi apa? Uterus thick muscular organs that can expand during pregnancy. Okay, thick muscular organs expand during pregnancy. Boleh membesar. Contoh triplet. Okay, siapa triplet yang awak kenal? Yang saya kenal jugalah. Siapa? Malaysia yang triplet. Tak kenal lah. Siapa-siapa je lah. Okay, macam saya ni. Saya tengok cerita tu tau. Saya tengok Return of Superman. Return of Superman, variety show Korea yang ada jaga baby ni lah. Okay. Saya tengok satu family ni triplet. So mak dia pula. The woman, dia bawa triplet lah. Triplet babies. Okay, so bayangkan triplet babies boleh membesar. Dia ada tunjuk gambar masa dia pregnant. Memang perut dia macam nak meletup lah. Okay, dia punya uterus tu macam nak, bukan uterus, dia punya bahagian perut tu, dia macam nak meletup, besar sangat, scary. Okay, triplet. So bayangkan boleh expand sampai macam tu. Right? The inner lining of uterus adalah endometrium yang banyak dengan blood vessel. Yang itulah akan tebal every month. Tebal, dia akan prepare. Okay, dia akan prepare macam ni. Saya letak gambar. Kan. Ni. Okay, dia akan tebal macam ni lah. Okay. Enlarge and thicken. Dia nak prepare untuk siapa? Untuk si egg cell dengan sperm fertilized and the embryo, the zygote will embedded in the endometrium lining. Okay, dia dah prepare benda-benda tu. So bila dia katakanlah dia dah prepare. Okay, dia dah prepare cantik. Dah ni. Nak prepare untuk zygote datang, untuk embedded dalam ni. Sekali tak datang tu lah yang period tu. Tak datang tu lah period, habis turun. Dia marah, turun. Okay. Alright. Sikit lagi. Lepas tu, vagina. Okay, vagina is the thin wall chamber that form the birth canal. Laluan untuk keluarkan baby. Okay, keluar kat situ. Act as the repository for sperm during copulation. Between uterus and vagina is the cervix. Ini adalah cervix. Ni macam scary je kalau merah tu. Padamlah. Okay, cervix. This is cervix. Alright? Okay. And this is the structure of secondary oocyte. I won't discuss about this for today. Okay, we're going to discuss this for tomorrow. But please, I want you to tolonglah baca. Okay, sebelum kelas kita esok, tolonglah baca ni. Start from structure of secondary oocyte until cycle. Okay, until cycle. Which is the cycle yang ni lah. Paling penting bacalah cycle. Tak nak baca secondary oocyte ataupun genesis pun, bacalah cycle. Cycle. Cycle ni penting. Sebab kita nak cerita balik, kita nak cerita berkaitan dengan graf ni. Okay, graf yang turun naik ni. Okay, esok. Esok kita cerita pasal female saja. 9.3 kita masuk minggu depan. Right? Ada soalan ke? Yang kau nak tanya?
Madam, I have 2 questions.
Yes, Katrina.
The first one is the luteinizing hormone one, the spelling. Is it an S or Z?
Luteinizing hormone, I think it's Z. Lecturer nak cakap apa?
It's Z, but then as far as I remember, during secondary school, it was an S. So I'm confused.
It doesn't matter. S boleh, Z boleh. Tapi kalau kita ikut lecture note ikut Campbell, kita stick to Z.
Okay. And then the second one is the basal membrane.
Basal
Where is
membrane.
Yeah, where is it?
The spermatogenesis. The basal membrane, where is it? In this diagram.
Yeah.
Okay, yang bahagian bawah. Basal membrane bawah. Ni, bawah ni. Ni adalah basal membrane. This is basal membrane.
Oh, okay.
So macam ni lah, satu akan remain. Okay, remain dia tak tunjuk lah. Remain at the basal membrane here. Okay, bawah. Satu lagi akan differentiate lah. Macam ni atas, ni atas. Bawah ni adalah basal membrane. Ya.
So what will happen to the remaining one?
Akan divide by mitosis, produce banyak lagi. Sebab tu lah sperms banyak.
Oh, okay.
Kan sperms banyak. Kalau macam female dia satu saja, egg cell satu saja. Okay, kalau sperms banyak. Tak terkira kot. Okay, itulah ceritanya. Alright, good question. Kitina, thank you. Ada lagi soalan yang lain? Okay, tak ada. Sure tak ada? Okay. Right, so before saya assign soalan biomix, saya nak cakap sikit pasal laporan amali awak tu. Saya dah ubah 2 kali tau. Markah awak dah ubah 2 kali. Okay, ada ni lah, ada macam argument sikit lah dengan, bukan argue, macam kita question sikit lah benda tu, skema jawapan, kenapa macam ni. Dan kita dah stick pada, dah mencapai keputusan tu, dan saya dah update markah terbaru yang paling latest sekali dah. Okay, saya dah update dah markah terbaru. And saya dah key in pun markah awak. Okay, laporan amali, practical, test video, assignment. Semua saya dah key in dalam sistem. Okay, so tolong, tak payah check kot, memang dah betul dah. Okay, dah betul. Yang sekarang ni tinggal UPS 3 saja minggu depan pada hari Rabu. UPS 3 pada hari Rabu. So saya dah assign quizzes Bio Splendid 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. Tolonglah buat. Sebab ada, saya bukan nak cakap lah, tapi memang ada dalam kelas awak ni ada beberapa orang yang PB dia, kalau saya tengok rendah. Rendah. Bagi saya, bukan bagi saya, tapi ada ramai lagi yang boleh dapat 60/60, 59/60, 58/60. Okay, ramai, sangat ramai. Tapi ada daripada beberapa orang dalam kelas awak ni memang rendah. So tolonglah UPS 3 yang last ni naikkan awak punya PP tu. Okay, alright. So, we still have time. Not we, tapi saya nak assign 1-2 soalan lah untuk awak buat sementara ada masa ni untuk sampai pukul 4. Jia. Kenapa dia tak keluar kat sini? Itulah functionnya pun. Okay.